Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Playoff Beers. So, I guess we've reached the end point of the little pictures down below.
The conclusion is upon us, and it's here.
It's the playoff stubble now. I guess it's the time we all reflect.
Oh yeah. I just like any player from Edmonton or Florida had to get rid of it.
That's true. Well, not every player. Every player should. But remember when Joe Thornton kept his forever? And what did he look like? Like he looked like some dirty mountain man or something like that forever.
Oh, he loved that in San Jose. He loved it.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. And there was, I guess, the Brett Burns. They had a little competition to see who could look like the most Cro-Mag, I guess. I wouldn't suggest that look for me. I could tell you that.
No.
Make me look worse.
No, I don't like that look. I don't like the look.
Ryan, the long national nightmare is over. When I say national, I mean my nightmare. The Oilers lose. The Oilers lose Game 7. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Like I said, I had a good night's sleep that night. I can tell you that. Probably better than anybody on Florida or Edmonton, I can tell you.
Well, Florida, yeah, I don't think they slept. I think Florida decided to stay up all night.
At least the
players did, yeah.
I think the fans had a fun. They were fine. I don't know if they know. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Anyways, they win 7 games. Touch and go for a team that went up 3-0.
Well, it was a tale of 2 series.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I have thought about and processed this Stanley Cup final. It was a tale of 2 series.
So they go up 3-0. Looks like they're cruising. They're in Edmonton. Stanley Cup gets flown out. Then they decide to drop a stinker. And I just thought, a game of rest. A game of rest so that they can win the cup in South Florida because they dominated before that.
It was your typical trap game. Trap game.
8-1.
Even if we lose 1, it doesn't matter. We're going back home. We're gonna be in our own beds, our own houses. Yeah, it sucked. We've flown all of our family up for Game 4, but hey, it is what it is. Welcome to the Stanley Cup Finals, or probably finals in any professional sport.
They had to pay for 2 seats for Kiefer.
That's true too. That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, I'm sure. Maybe they got the jumbo private jet.
That's well played. I will say that.
Yeah.
But so after the first, I don't really think there's much to discuss about the first 3 games.
No.
I mean, Florida played their style of hockey. Edmonton tried to do what they could do, but it just didn't matter. Florida's suffocation on the not allowing them to skate up the ice with the puck, like do what Edmonton normally does. Mm-hmm. It suffocated them, and they didn't know what to do.
Yeah, then Edmonton figures it out. They say, well, if they're going to keep coming at us, especially in our zone, and then leave all this space at the middle, we're just going to launch the puck up the ice. So, it was third liners, fourth liners getting breakaways. The defensemen were excellent passers. Bouchard ends up as the second leading scorer in the playoffs this year.
Which you know what you called him like you said he's been a stud for Edmonton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I never really thought that he could get up to that potential. I still don't think he can get to the potential of being an elite defenseman.
Yeah, I think he really benefits with his partner too, right? Yeah,
he does.
He benefits with his partner.
That's right, 100%. But they did what they did. Now, I'm not going to say it was on the back of a single person because that's not. It's a team sport.
Oh yeah,
but it was on the back of a single person.
Sure. And he did all he could, especially considering that he was playing, I don't know how many games with an abdominal injury so bad he has to have surgery for it. So, it's not like you need a core muscles for skating in hockey.
That came out yesterday, didn't it?
Yeah, it came out as soon as the series is over. That's when the injury list started coming out, and Draisaitl was bad too. He had a broken finger and a broken rib or something like that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but a broken finger. I'm sorry. Like you're not stopped skating because of a broken finger. Like Draisaitl,
you don't play for months if you're a baseball player. Or
Draisaitl. Yeah, well, that's true too. Yeah, that's true. But like, I'm sorry, but a broken finger, it doesn't prevent you from skating. I could see a broken rib. Sure, I could see that because that'll affect your wind, your airway, whatever.
It sure affected him in this series. Only 3 assists for Draisaitl when he was coming in so hot.
He looked like absolute dog shit.
Yeah, well, they were on him all the time.
Of the 7 games. For 6 of the 7 games, he looked like absolute dog shit. Like the one game, which I believe was game 6? Yeah, game 6. Mm-hmm. He actually looked like he was skating. He was motivated.
Yep.
Which was great.
Well, the momentum had swung back after they won in Florida. I think that momentum came back. It's like we're down 3-2 now. It's a best of 3 series.
Absolutely. Like because as an Edmonton Oiler, like if I was on that team, you take it one. You take it. I don't want to don that jersey. But if I had to, first of all, I'd ask to leave.
Everybody
but
does
that's neither here nor there.
Sure.
But in the same token, I'd be like, okay, we're playing one game at a time. And that's what they did. Game 5. Mm-hmm. Game 4, game 5, game 6. They played one game at a time. And that's why I say it was a tale of 2 series, because Florida for the first 3 games were unbelievable. They couldn't be beat. I don't care what team you put on the ice. You weren't beating Florida the way they were playing the first 3 games of the series.
That good, hard, fast forecheck, using their size and speed.
It was fantastic. Like it was something that we haven't seen in a long time. Like just the way they played, we haven't seen that We haven't seen that since probably the 80s, maybe the 90s, maybe early 90s.
Yeah, I was to say, I don't know if you remember the 80s hockey all that much, but all it was slashing and grabbing people. The entire thing. It's hard to watch a game from the 80s now.
Is it hard?
It's pretty brutal. It's pretty brutal hockey.
Okay.
It's all over YouTube. You can find lots of games on YouTube.
That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, it's not good.
Like I would say probably early to mid 90s.
Yeah.
Hockey was probably like kind of the way that Florida was playing the first 3 games.
Yeah.
But then I don't understand why they decided to. I don't know if they flipped a switch or if they decided we're up 3-0. Okay, we can ease off a bit.
I think a lot. I think you're absolutely right. For game 4 especially. I think that
was the 8-1 blowout.
The 8-1 game, and Bobrovsky gets pulled, and I think for sure they took the foot off the pedal and they started coasting a little bit, and it bit them. And it bit them for 3 games. I think that game 6 in Edmonton was a very good game, though. That Edmonton pulled out. I think they won 5-3, and then fantastic game 7. That Florida wins. Not the best Stanley Cup winning goal, but with Edmonton down. Okay, let's skip right ahead. Edmonton's down 2-1. There's about 3 minutes left, and you keep looking for Skinner. Why is Skinner still in his net? And it gets to about the minute 45 or so before he finally starts moving. In that time, Edmonton has had the puck for a good minute or so.
Like 2 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, just constant shots. People scrambling. Bobrovsky without a stick. He's out of his net. People getting in the way. People getting in the crease or whatever. I keep looking at people's hands. It's like if you put your hand on that puck, they're gonna point to the spot right away. There's gonna be no leeway
100%.
here. They did good though. They never did anything foolish. They didn't grab anybody, didn't pull anybody down. Of course, it was NHL playoff referee. They let so much crap slide.
Oh yeah, of course they did. Of course they did.
But it wasn't
Which
like
I mean,
Edmonton's power play did not look great.
No, it
The
dried up
penalty
a
kills
bit.
did
It definitely. The penalty. Like I don't think there's been a penalty kill better in history than what the Edmonton Oilers did this year.
Certainly,
like,
certainly not in the
phenomenal.
playoffs. Yeah,
no, not in the playoffs. It was phenomenal. Now, yes, their power play, it did dry up a bit. Is that the reason they lost? No.
No. No, they had to get those top guys.
Only
McDavid with 34 assists is great, but only 8 goals is a problem.
Well, yeah. Well, and having Leon Draisaitl only having 3 assists in the Stanley Cup Finals is a problem too.
Yep. Yeah.
Injury or not, like that's not going to get it done.
Evander Kane was an absolute no-show.
But he was hurt though too, wasn't he? He was hurt bad. Like he missed games because of his injuries.
Yep. Adam Henrique has to retire. He had missed some games as well. Nugent, the Nuge, again. He had a good playoffs, but not a good finals. Fogla had a good.
Fogel had a good series.
Connor Brown had good.
Connor Brown had a very good series for Edmonton.
Yep.
But again, Edmonton, it comes down to, I'm not going to say one person, but it
comes down to 2.
It does come down to one person. 2. You're right.
Comes down to 2.
No, I'll say 3.
Sure.
And as far as I'm concerned, McDavid held his end of the bargain.
Yeah.
I owe a huge apology to Stuart Skinner because
100%.
I was on his shit list. I was like, this guy can't stop a frickin' beach ball. And you know what? All he did was prove me wrong.
He was
consistent, and he held that team in that series.
Yeah. He gave him a chance to win game 7 for sure. They just couldn't crack Bobrovsky's case.
I mean, what was the goal that he gave up to Bennett a week? Yes.
Yeah.
It was weak.
Fluky.
I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't
a great goal.
It was under there. It wasn't a great goal. But that's not the reason why they lost the game.
Yeah.
That's not the reason why they lost the game.
Couldn't score.
No, that's right. But I do put a lot of blame on Draisaitl. I don't care if you got a little pinky injury. Come on. Yeah. That doesn't affect your skating. You can still skate. And let's
talk about him. He's going into the last year of his contract. He's only been making $8 million. You compare that to someone who just got traded in, how much he makes. So
that's right.
Yeah. So he'll be getting a raise for sure.
A big raise.
A big raise. I don't know how it's going to be in Edmonton. I don't know how
Edmonton. Edmonton would have to do some finagling to try to do this, move that. There's going to be someone that's going to pay him $11 or $12 million. 100% there will be.
Yeah. So and you're already given one guy 14. If the salary cap is going up, whatever it is, $4 million, and then you can't just give it to him.
Isn't McDavid due for a raise in the next year or 2?
I think it's
because his contract's coming up.
Yeah, they're a little separate though. So 2 or so more years, and McDavid will never.
Okay, so 2 years.
Yeah, but
you don't think so? You don't think so?
No.
You think if Edmonton comes out next year and shits the absolute bed, he's not looking at moving on?
I don't know how anybody would afford him. To leave Edmonton, he's going to have to get a raise. They're not going to do it on in this contract.
So, yeah, but we're also looking at the salary cap going up the next probably 2, 3, 4 years. Exponentially.
It's going to have to go up a lot because I think by the end of his career, he's going to be making $16 million.
He'll make more than that.
Yeah, like a year, and you can do it.
My guess is he'll be 18.5 million.
That's an incredible amount of money. I just don't know who has the draft capital it would take, because for sure there's multiple number one picks coming. It doesn't matter if it's at the trade deadline. Multiple number one picks coming. Then you have to equal the money out, and you have to have actual stars. They're gonna want their top prospect, all those number one picks, at least the top 6 forward, preferably center, and probably a top pairing defenseman.
Okay,
is it worth it to get them? Yeah, but somebody has to have all that stuff, and the cap to pay him.
But there's teams that have that, but in the same token, there's teams that probably he has a no trade clause for.
Yeah, probably.
And those are the teams that probably have those assets.
I was gonna say he probably has a 31 team no trade list, so he's gonna have to agree to move.
Okay. So you're saying he's going to be an Edmonton Oiler for life?
Yeah. I don't see how I don't see financially how it works for him to move anywhere. The time would have been before the last contract, before he started getting paid the 14 whatever.
Okay. No, I see what you're saying. Okay, so you're telling me Edmonton, after the next 2 years, is going to pay him probably 15-16 million.
They're going to pay him everything else, everything extra.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and they'll do it for 8 years because that's all they can do it for. They can do it the most. Like any other team, I think could only do it for 7 or something.
But that's also like we're assuming Connor wants to stay in Edmonton.
I think he does. I think he's fine there. He would have asked out already. There's no way he would have asked out already. I would think. Yeah, it's got to be frustrating of all those losses and stuff like that. If he hasn't asked out already, especially now that he's made the Cup final, I think having that.
If this team regresses in 2 years, okay, say they lose Draisaitl next year because Draisaitl goes to another team, because that's very possible.
Yeah, but they don't let him walk. There's no way he walks, so they're gonna be getting something for Draisaitl. There's no way he walks to free agency.
Oh, I can't. But there's no way that I could see Mitch Marner either. But yet, apparently, according to what everybody's saying, he's going to play out the year.
Yeah, incredible, and that's on the Leafs. That's on the Leafs for giving.
That's
all that money absolutely. And a no trade clause, and you're a winger.
Yeah, you're not even a centerman.
I'll never understand it in a million years. A winger, a full no movement clause. All those guys. Oh well, the Leafs are in their position they're in because of the Leafs. That's why.
No,
they deserve it. They deserve it. I do want to say one quick thing that we just mentioned the Leafs quick. R.I.P. to Sergei Berezin. Who passed away. Yeah, I did like Berezin when he played. So, no why, but it's a shame. It's a shame. I know that my brother had posters with the Leafs on it that had Sergei Berezin. He was a big fan of Sergei Berezin. Yeah. So there you go. Too bad. That's tough to hear. Okay, let's go back. All right, we talked a lot about the Oilers. Maybe a couple of things about, I guess, the champs. I guess we can talk about the Panthers for a minute.
Okay. We can.
I guess we'll start at the top, on the ice at the top. And Alexander Barkov. I didn't know this, but he becomes the first Finnish player to, the Finnish captain, I should say, to hoist the Stanley Cup. Then I was thinking about it. I could only think of 2 other Finnish captains. Adelia says, hey. I didn't even
hello, Adelia.
Hey, Adelia. I can only think of 2 other Finnish captains.
Was Timo Selänne as captain? And
there was a rotating captaincy. He wasn't named the captain. I think both of the guys I'm thinking of had the last name Koivu.
Saku for sure.
And then Mikko or whatever his name was.
Mikko in Minnesota. Yes.
Yeah, those are the only 2 I can think of.
I would never have thought Alexander Barkov is Finnish.
Well, it's very close to Russia. It's that close to Russia.
I guess it's I guess it's just like a millimeter.
Yeah, they share a border. So, but yeah. Everybody has a last name that it's a melting pot country, I guess.
But yeah, I was actually like, I like to think I know my hockey, but when Bettman said about the Finnish captain and all this stuff, I'm like, Barkov's Finnish? What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it served as a stark reminder. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that as well.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Barkov's.
No, but you know, Florida there, like you said, going back to Florida, Barkov was like, he was their best, like, he was their best player. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, I mean, everybody can sit here and say Bobrovsky, the first 3 games was fantastic. Next 3 games were kind of in the craps.
Well, certainly.
But the last game, the last game, he showed up.
I heard a couple of people saying, he should win the Conn Smythe. I was like, for what? Whereas his 900 save percentage is good enough for
he shouldn't have won the Smythe. Actually, speaking of Conn Smythe, do you agree with the Conn Smythe winner?
Sure. It's the most valuable player in the playoffs, and not the most valuable player for the winning.
And that's what I said to a bunch of guys at work and my friends and my family, and that. It's got to be on the winning team. They have to have the person that wins. No, it's the person that is the most valuable player to their team throughout the playoffs.
I would say if it's tight, if it's a pick 'em, it could go either way.
Well, to me,
let's say like Tkachuk had 9 points less than him or something like that. Then
I don't think Tkachuk was even close.
No, none of them were close.
Like if they give it to Barkov,
the closest one was Evan Bouchard at 32, and I think Draisaitl had 31.
Yeah, but even then, like, I wouldn't have been upset if they give it to Barkov just because Florida won the Stanley Cup. I would not have been upset with that.
Yeah, but then you'd have to think, was he the guy you have to think the guy who stands out the most in the Stanley Cup playoffs? And you just look and
it wasn't even
the other guys close, that are compared to him in the playoffs this year, Gretzky and Lemieux. They were pretty good, if I remember right.
Well,
I didn't like them. I can tell you that. And one of them I absolutely hated.
I figured you hated though. Yeah. I figured the one that starts with a G you hated.
Yeah, not the biggest fan. Speaking of, not the biggest fan of those guys. Matthew Tkachuk becomes the first Tkachuk boy to win a Stanley Cup.
I think
his dad made the finals once, and I think they got swept.
But you know what? There's also a lot of other father and sons that have never won a cup, so it's cool, yes, but I don't think it's the story that needs to be told of a son fulfilling his father's dream.
The only thing for me is that guy was the captain of my team, signs a contract and holds out the next year because he wants more money after he signed a contract. So that didn't.
And then he goes to St. Louis.
Yeah, he stuck with the team through Phoenix and then St. Louis. He was in Atlanta for that one time they made the playoffs and got swept.
Like I said, it's great for Matthew Tkachuk, but I don't think it needs to be a big family freaking ordeal that they made it out to be.
I do not understand Brady Tkachuk. I don't understand it. Your brother, you play in the National Hockey League. You're the captain of your team.
I'd be if I'm him. I'd be pissed off.
Team to win. Yeah,
I'd be pissed off. I'd be like, you know what? I'm happy you're my brother. Thank you, but I wouldn't be sitting there, doing all this for Florida. I'd be like
crying and stuff like that. It's like, what is the matter?
We're coming after you next year.
Yeah, you could tell. Like his mom and his everything comes from Winnipeg, but it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. You got a little, that didn't seem like hockey to me. Let's keep moving on. Speaking of Winnipeg, how about Paul Maurice's comments before he even races the cup?
I actually didn't, like he thinks Winnipeg is the best hockey city and all this stuff. And you know what? He's probably not wrong. But but I would have waited to have said that till after all this stuff.
I was gonna say, I think he was
went
put in the
on.
best spot. He was put in the best spot. All those guys. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it in a sec. I'll just talk about we had the Sportsnet feed here in Canada, and I'm sure the Americans had their own guys talking and stuff like that. Every damn they had everybody on the ice. Friedman was on the ice. David Amber on the ice. That guy with the weird hair from Toronto on the ice talking about every time they would talk to somebody, it would be like, oh, what was your journey? Tell us about your journey. Like,
it was
everybody
stupid.
trying to make crybaby sob stories. It's like,
tell us about the moment right now.
I'm gonna have a dozen beers in the next hour, so I'm so happy.
Well, exactly. Yeah. You come talk to me in another hour and a half, I'm gonna be drunk as a skunk.
Paul Maurice knows the media.
He's great.
He came to Winnipeg out from Hockey Night in Canada as well. So he knows the media. He knows what they want to hear. He has that nice story talking about how his dad is going to have his name on the cup now. And I said Maurice is going to be on there. Maurice is on there a bunch. Maurice Rocket Richard was always there.
Yeah, I was going to say Maurice Richard.
So then he goes on about Winnipeg winning the next Stanley Cup. And he says that in the moment, but of course he misspoke, right? Like, even if he's retiring, he doesn't say it. I think he just meant to say it's his.
He loved his time in Winnipeg.
He'd love to if the Winnipeg Jets would win a Stanley Cup. Probably not the next one if he's still coaching. You know what I mean?
Well, because the Winnipeg Jets are the team that give him his shot.
Yeah,
they give him his
another shot back. Yeah, well, gave him a shot back after coaching in Russia for a couple of years.
Well, that's right.
Places. Yeah,
but now
good for Maurice. He went like everybody who hated him in Winnipeg. All of a sudden saying, "Oh, that Maurice is a great guy."
I'm so happy that I'm very happy that he won it. But now I have a question for you.
Sure.
If they ended up blowing the 3-0 series lead and losing to Edmonton 4-3, do you think Paul Maurice still has a job in Florida?
100%.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I think
I'm
he's
more on
done.
the fence now. I'm more on the fence now that he's won, that he lost and stuff like that. You know, he's done all he can do to get him there. The players have to play, but
now that he's won, he's set. But if they squabbled the 3-0 lead and lost 4-3 to Edmonton, Edmonton won a Stanley Cup.
They brought them to the last 2 Stanley Cup Finals. The Florida Panthers.
You can get us here, but you can get us here, but you can't get us over that hump.
Yeah, that was his thing typical. Before with Carolina and Hartford and stuff like that. Like he got them there, just couldn't get them over the hump.
Like I think it would have been a very interesting offseason for Florida if they lost that game.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But you know what? They don't have to worry about it because they won. So it doesn't worry.
Now it's just a footnote. And now it's not like a joke. They're not a hockey joke.
Now it's just.
Yeah, no, it's whatever. So I want to say, there's a couple of Jets that get some Stanley Cup rings on the ice. Kulikov and Stenlund. It's like, all right, like they were fine. I don't consider
congratulations for them. Yeah, they were. Yeah, whatever.
A couple of Jets from my childhood. One in the front office. We got Rick Dudley and Paul Fenton. Both winning Stanley Cup rings in the back.
And then we got freaking Roberto Luongo.
Luongo eating, what was it, zoodles or something like that out of the cup yesterday? Like a maniac.
Yeah, like what are you doing? Like, you know what? You're an executive. You're not a player.
Everyone was pretty happy for him. He had that great Twitter when he was playing. So that's all anybody ever cared about.
Yeah. Mr. Strombone. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Strombone. They've decided that the Stanley Cup parade is gonna be June 30th in Fort Lauderdale. I said, is it just gonna be going down some guy's backyard or back like driveway and then the party's in the backyard? Like that's what the parade is gonna be. Like who's showing up? Like they had all those people out, they had the Stanley Cup, they're pouring beer on it from the hotel room down.
Well,
there's 30 people there. There's 30.
Basically, just have your Stanley Cup parade at the Elbow Room, which is huge in Florida, apparently. The Elbow Room.
I guess so.
And have fun.
I guess so. I don't think. Yeah, you'd see it like just in Game 7. That rink was more than half full of Oiler fans. Like, the
It
Oilers
was.
filled that arena. It's crazy.
Although
That was the Cup Finals. Game
I'm
7.
so yes, but I'm sorry. Game
They're
7
selling
Cup
them for like
Finals,
$25 each, probably. Like
probably
twice as much.
But the best singer you can get is Alanis Morissette for Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. No. Brutal.
Yeah. I better not sing it. It was demonetized.
You better not say it. Isn't it ironic? You better not say, is it ironic?
National treasure. You ought to know.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now, I was going to say, I don't know, and pretend that slime on me or whatever, because I remember her. You can't do that on television, even though she was on the.
Please don't tell me you took a jagged little pill.
Don't. Okay.
That's
not the time or place. Gee whiz. Are you happy for Opozo?
Oh, I'm ecstatic for Kyle. Like, you know what? He's paid his dues. He's done his time. I was just glad that he was able to be traded to the Florida Panthers to have an opportunity at the Cup. Whether it was from the Islanders, whether it was from Buffalo. Yeah, well, that's it. And you know what? I'm glad for him. But you know what? That being said, that's where that ends.
Yep.
I'm happy for him, but that's where that ends.
Yeah. You would have been happier if you were wearing a different jersey, I'm sure.
Well, for sure.
Last couple of bits here about the Oilers. First, the only Oiler I feel sorry for, of course, Mark Stewart, the former Jets defenseman. He was on the ice for the shift, that first shift of Bufflins there, when the first game back in the exhibition against Columbus, where Bufflin introduced everybody in Winnipeg to himself. He's a good former Jet. He's the one who orchestrated that penalty kill. I think his star may be on the rise when it comes to coaching in the NHL. So good for him. The only one I feel sorry for. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, no more.
That's it. Ken Holland is moving on.
He's gone.
They decided they're not going to renew his contract. He's done. He's not going to be at the draft.
Well, I think we knew that. It was pretty much the writing. Like, they knew that he's moving on.
Not the architect of this team, that's for sure. Like, well, you can't ever say like I'm the one who took the Oilers there when they already had Draisaitl and McDavid. That's the whole team. He made some good trades. Like getting Ekholm in there.
He did. Well, and getting Hyman and signing Hyman and stuff.
Signing Hyman was good as well. So he contributed for sure, and he still has something left in the tank, it seems. I think he's going. It looks like he may be going on now to Chicago. I don't know how the folks in Detroit feel about that, but I think it's more maybe in a more advisory role. I think that Kyle, what's his name, Kyle Davidson.
Davidson.
I think he's still got his job sort of secure. We'll see. We'll see how long.
But I also hear was it Stan Bowman? Like, apparently he's ready to be reinstated. So
he might be ready. I don't think there's any chance in hell he ever comes back. Same as Quenneville. I don't see
telling you. I'm just telling you. Man.
I don't see how this. I don't see a road. I'm sure they're ready to come back.
But apparently,
they make a lot more money than sitting on their ass.
There's a plethora of teams that are waiting for Stan Bowman to get his clearance from the NHL, so that they can have conversations with him to be their GM.
So they can renew the glory years of Stan Bowman from 15 years prior.
I'm saying, man. I don't agree with it, but I'm just saying.
I don't see Bettman letting him come back. I think it'd be a tough sell.
Well, apparently he's going to be cleared.
Oh my gosh. Incredible. You know what? And if it does, will it still shock me? Yes. But would it, should it surprise me with Bettman?
No.
I guess not. Okay. Let's go on to some news. Some news that was happening while the finals were going on, which is so strange. Like, this never happens, but because it's the goddamn season went so long and everything is condensed now, like the awards are tonight. I couldn't give two shits about the awards.
Oh, yeah.
And then we got coming up the draft. We got on Friday. We got free agency come Monday.
It's bang 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 like all
News.
draft.
So there isn't that leeway where we used to have a couple of weeks leading up to the draft where some of these trades are going to happen. So they started getting them out of the way, and one of them had to get done before somebody turned 25 years old. So we'll talk about him in a sec. First trade I want to talk about Jacob Markstrom.
Ottawa. Oh yes,
yeah, we're going to talk about that. Yeah, well, Markstrom. So Jersey gets their
goaltender,
a 34-year-old goalie, still making $6 million, and might have lost the crease a little bit last year because they got Dustin Wolf in Calgary, who's looked pretty good, and I think that's who they're going to rely on for this year. Anyways, they get Kevin Ball, who finally stuck with the big club after I think he was drafted 7 years ago or something like that. He played all 82 games. He's a stay-at-home defenseman.
Yeah, he's not a flashy guy. He's
a sixth guy.
6'7".
Yeah. Not the flashiest trade, but Calgary gets a first round pick as well.
Calgary gets rid of the headache known as Jacob Markstrom.
They get rid of $6 million on an aging goaltender,
and they get rid of $6 million.
Diminished returns on him for sure.
That's all I'm hearing now is like cap space is the most important thing now is cap space.
Well, you look at Draisaitl might be available, and you're going to need that. You can see
a lot of teams making trades. And like, what are you doing? And it's like, just to clear cap space.
Yeah, you see like even the last few years on the draft board and stuff like that. It's just like salary cap room and stuff like that, and people buying back contracts and stuff.
Oh, absolutely,
so strange. The other trade that happened minutes afterwards, it seemed.
I know.
My old buddy, Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Oh,
he gets to finally, all of this whining and crying and belly aching,
and it gets him to the nation's capital.
He goes to Los Angeles. This is the place for him. He can wear his fancy clothes and go to art exhibits and stuff like that. You're
relishing this right now.
He gets traded to the frickin' Capitals.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for them. Another $8.5 million anchor for the next 8 years for giving up an aging, poor goaltender. And Darcy Kemper still played in the National
It's almost like both teams felt bad for each other and said, "We're gonna take your pain and make it ours, but doubled."
Yeah. Rob Blake may have made the worst trade in Los Angeles history.
Rob Blake is an idiot.
Yeah, he makes to Winnipeg giving up so much for Dubois. He's an
idiot.
He basically traded Gabe Velarde and Iafallo and Rasmus Kapari and a second round pick for Darcy Kemper.
Yeah, basically. It's so stupid. Like there's no meaning behind it. It was more or less, okay, this guy's like, he basically looked at PLD and said, "You're an idiot. I don't want you on our team. So I'm going to trade you for whatever I can get."
Yeah. Locker room poison. He's a locker room poison. But he has to go into Ovechkin's locker room now.
Well, but that's what I said. Like I said that on the Discord there, the LGR Discord. I hope, he's good. Yeah. He's gonna go to Washington, and I hope Ovechkin gets tired of his whining and complaining and just knocks him out.
Yeah.
Just knock him out.
Punch him
and be done with him.
Punch him
and be done with him.
Yeah.
No, because I can guarantee you right now.
Bye PLD. No one's ever going
I bet you PLD won't last a half year in Washington, and I bet you he'll cry and moan his way, and I bet you the Montreal Canadiens will pick him up at trade deadline.
Washington, I don't know how I think Washington would have to buy him out right away for any of that to ever happen. Yeah,
well, I mean,
just to save the cap space, it's not a great look.
We're not hockey aficionados when it comes to office stuff, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we both could say buy him out and let him float.
Oh yeah. Bye-bye. You can go play in Europe if you want. If you love Paris that much, you
Oh,
can go be
sure. How
you
about
can
it?
go be the best hockey player in France, or probably like the third best. Who knows?
Go watch the Olympics.
Yeah,
And don't even come back.
Yeah,
and stay in France. Don't come back.
Get a place on the Seine. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
All right. So this trade happens literally minutes before face-off in Game 7, and Boston has finally solved their 2 goaltender problems by trading for a goaltender.
Yeah.
I mean, well, they trade Linus Ullmark, which is a great goaltender, to the Ottawa Senators. I
was shocked when I heard that.
Yeah,
I thought good on Ottawa. I mean, sure, like they did the Korpisalo experiment and it just didn't work.
Did not work.
So you can get a guy, but in the same token, this is where I'm kind of confused. Like Ullmark has one year left on his deal. To me, it would make no sense for Ottawa to give up what they did if they don't think they can re-sign him.
Yeah, they could probably re-sign him, I would think.
But Ullmark is probably going to be looking for what, 7-8 million?
They'll probably end up paying it. They've been so desperate for goaltending since Hasek left. He's a Vezina winner and stuff. So,
but we're still yes, he is. But we're sitting here saying that he's going to solve all the Senators' problems.
No,
and he's not.
But they have to. They're gonna. The only way they're gonna do it otherwise, as they've proven with this revolving door of goaltenders they've had for the last few seasons, like Forsberg, they just had so many different names coming in and out of that thing. Yeah. The only way they're going to do it is to draft it, and if they draft it, it's still going to take 4 or 5 years. So they're going to give this Ottawa. Plus, who else are they going to give the money to? They're going to give it to especially when I'm hearing like Shabbat might be on the trade block, which is bananas. It's bananas to me.
Well, I heard Kachuk's on the. I heard Kachuk's on the trade block.
There's no way you trade Brady Kachuk. There's no way.
But does he want to stay in Ottawa?
I think he just signed a big contract extension. Didn't he sign like a 7-year extension?
Maybe.
Last year?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was big, but it was something.
Yeah, I just meant big as in term. I don't know how.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
I think he's there for a while. So. Yeah, I don't see. But getting rid of top D, like that's like if like getting rid of Kachuk is mind blowing because he's your entire team up front, anyways. It's the heart and soul. But to get rid of a guy like Shabbat who plays well, and then Chikrin, like we heard, like I get it that he's into the last year of his contract as well, so that I understand more. But he's also a guy who can play in the right D, even though he's a left-handed shot. Now he can play both sides of the ice. He's worth a lot, and then I'm just not hearing very much from him. Like there's rumblings out of Winnipeg here, like maybe a Nikolai Ehlers for Jacob Chikrin trade is in the works.
No,
it would help you. Wow. It would help out both teams, but they're both on expiring contracts, so you need to make sure. Like I don't see the Jets doing that unless they're signing Chikrin.
No, you're right. You're right.
But also we're having trouble now. Rucker McGroarty wants to skip the line and have a guaranteed job with the Jets because now he wants to trade. He said, I'm going back to college if I'm not guaranteed a fucking job right out of the block. Like you might be a good kid. Like you might be able, you might look like you're going to be great, but you're still a kid, a college kid.
Yeah. And you're not going to tell us what we can and can't do with you.
Like you're going to tell Cole Perfetti he can't play because you decided Rucker McGroarty has to play. Plus, you have to give him minutes. Like I don't. Whatever.
Yeah.
Trade that kid too.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe stop, goddamn, drafting college players. What? But for every for every Kyle Connor you get, I guess you have to get a Rucker McGroarty. I guess that's how it works.
That's true. Good point.
Vancouver's creating a lot of cap space as well. They're getting rid of guys. They get rid of Mickey.
And I'm pretty sure we all know for one player.
Mm-hmm. They get rid of Dakota. They re-signed Dakota Joshua. That's a he had a good year. But to give him
what
4 years and $3.5 million is kind of
it's because he had a good playoffs.
Yeah, he had a good playoffs. I didn't even mention the Barclay Goodrow situation. Getting had San Jose on his no trade list.
No trade list, and then they free agent him.
Yeah, well, we're gonna put you on waivers for the buyout. And who's first up? Who has first pickings? The last place San Jose Sharks.
I'm sorry, but that Mike Greer is the absolute worst goddamn GM
He's awful.
in the NHL. It's terrible.
How do you build a relationship with this guy?
You don't.
And like Goodrow played there, and he doesn't want to go back. Oh my God,
that's terrible.
What a shit show. Poor Macklin Celebrini. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Oh well.
That poor kid's gonna get drafted on tomorrow night there, and he's gonna be the happiest guy until he actually gets to San Jose.
Best player in the draft, but this guy isn't like a generational player.
This is not a good.
It's not a good draft.
This is not a good draft.
It's an okay draft.
I'm sorry.
A couple of things. Really defense heavy. So like especially at the
which
top
benefits teams. Benefits teams.
That's why I keep wondering, are the Jets willing to package McGroarty and Ehlers to move up in this thing? But they got to be sure about this defenseman that they want to get, and they better not go. They better not go small. They keep going after smaller defensemen, so they need big.
No.
I don't know who they get. Yeah,
that's right.
Last couple of things. Claude Julien back in the NHL. He's an assistant coach in St. Louis now, for what's that's worth. And to wrap everything up. To wrap everything up with me
and a nice little bow.
And a club that I used to cheer for when I was growing up that decided our name wasn't good enough, basically tried to kill it, as they moved to Arizona. They lumber around there for years, playing the last couple of years in a $4,600 seat University Arena. They said, well, we're going to put the franchise on pause. Utah can have these players. We're going to keep the franchise name in the records, of course, because everyone wants those Coyotes records. And we're going to wait for this land auction deal. The sale is going to be worth $1 billion to this guy from Utah, which is fine.
Yeah,
and he's gonna get $500 million, as long as and if he's gonna retain the rights to the name and stuff like that, and they're gonna get this land auction. Well, the land auction comes and they cancel it. They said no, so he immediately said, no, I can't do the team anymore. So I think he gets some money after he has to pay off all the bills and stuff like that. He makes like $8 million.
Absolute shit show.
Bye-bye. You know what? I have no feelings for Utah. None. I don't consider that, they don't have the history. As far as I'm concerned, they're an expansion team with some players. It's like none of these players, like Shane Doan's kid plays will be playing for Utah. And that's the only kind of tie of anything.
Yep.
Like it's not like I'm tied to Florida because Kiefer Kachuk's kids play there and stuff. So good riddance. I'm glad they're dead. I'm gonna say that. I'm glad the Coyotes have been run over. The Roadrunner has won. The Roadrunner has finally run Ryan, and the poor Coyotes, they painted that tunnel onto the side of the cliff.
You paint the tunnel on the side of the cliff there.
He was going along in that rocket face first, and
he had the Acme rocket strapped to the back, and
no more Coyotes.
Well,
that's it. That's it for the season. But maybe not it for us. There's still a little bit of news to come in the next few days. Maybe we'll have another pop-up show happen here very soon. We'll maybe talk some draft news. Could be all kinds of stuff going on at the draft. The actual behind-the-scenes stuff usually more exciting than the actual draft is.
That's exactly
and
what
then
that is.
our Canada Day's coming up. Then we have free agency the same day.
Monday.
This is all happening. This is all
Free
happening. This is
frenzy.
within a week. Within a week of the Stanley Cup being handed out. That's just some of the news that we have.
Draft,
the draft, the awards, free agency, all within a week, all within 1 week of the Stanley Cup.
It sounds like something that we might have to come back and talk about.
It's bananas. It's kind of like when you were playing NHL 94 and stuff like that. You just go right on to the next season after you're finished your season and stuff like that.
Doesn't matter how you did. You just start a new season.
All right, Ryan. Well, you don't have anything else going on in the internet, do you?
I do not. Nope.
No, he's only concerned about playoff beers, guys. I get it.
Hey, this is my one and only concern, and
that's right.
I hope y'all like it.
Yes, it's my only concern too, as well as my other concerns. I guess I don't count very well. So, starting 11, also here on the Highlights Network. So the Euros are going on, Copa America. It's Adelia and Fares covering that. I was on the last episode. I'm probably going to make it on to another one or two, I hope. And then English Premier League is coming back in like a couple months too. It's in August it starts. So I don't have much of a break from that. But yeah, I can't wait for Premier League, as you know. Over on the entertainment side, Rewatchers Council just had the newest edition or the latest edition of our show drop this afternoon. That's when Adelia and I talked with Brendan Marr about Innocence, one of my all-time favorite Buffy episodes. Fantastic. So we're doing a full 144 episode rewatch of that. So that's on the Highlights. New episodes come out Thursdays. Let's see, LGRN after Snark, Ryan. And during that show, I guess we've been doing Acolyte reviews and The Boys Season 4 reviews, and then we package that. We put those out separately as well. So if you guys want to watch it live, that's weekends on the flagship Let's Get Ready Network. What else am I doing? No, that's about it. I can't think of anything else.
Is that it?
I think that might be it. No?
Or are you just out of breath, out of wind? You can't talk.
Yeah, I had a long little run there, and so like I started getting lightheaded.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So, until next week, Madame et Monsieur, bonsoir.